Oh, there we are. We're
We
live.
are.
There we
We're
are.
live. We're live. We're back again. I'm so excited. Welcome to our bi-weekly your liver. We're
You're
liver. We're
live.
liver and live.
Yeah, yeah. And onions.
Yeah, and we're liver and onions. Welcome
Yeah.
to our bi-weekly Denver Green Party episode of Shitting on the Duopoly. No, that's not really the name of this live stream, but I like that as a name. Um, but
We live in
sorry,
Denver.
y'all.
There's only one party. There's only
There's
one
oh
party.
right, there's only
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
no, we can get the fascists too. So we could
yeah, yeah.
we're an equal opportunity shitting opportunity this tonight. With myself, I am Jason Justice, and of course I know things. And then of course to my right,
I
your
know.
left
I
is the good
know.
doctor. Doctor, say
Yeah.
hello.
Hi, I'm Dr. Desmond Wellington.
Wow.
I'm the psychologist that keeps Jason in line. I don't know. I do like your title knows things, comma,
That's yeah,
period.
that's
And there's a
good.
period there. It doesn't mean anything unless there's a period there.
Well, Des, I know we're starting at 8:15. Des always has a long day of performing unnecessary surgery, so
Yeah,
so that's always good.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway, so
yeah.
we've got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about tonight. Please go back and visit our beautiful live streams from before. Last week, I
Yes.
actually had a great conversation um, with Ahmed El Tuni, who is a national co-chair of the Green Party, and was on the international committee, and it was a really lovely conversation about the direction that the National Green Party is going. It's moved to the left, and kind of. Oh, I'm sure that there are people out there who, when they think about the Green Party, they think about uh, just that there's a 100% environmental focus, but no, the Green Party represents much, much more than that. We do, environmental issues obviously are very important, but environmental issues also kind of intertwine with issues of racism and issues of classism and issues of, just healthcare, all of that kind of stuff. So I think that I think it's okay for us to think about things um, you know like like race issues, like
Social
things,
justice.
social
Yeah,
justice issues.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And by the way, happy Pride Month to everyone out
I
there. And
know.
yeah, it's
Out
a
and
beautiful
proud.
time. Out and proud. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So it's an exciting month, and of course it's been beautiful here in Denver. And
I
so
know.
on a what a great segue into, by the way, denvergreenparty.org. Check us out there. Check us out. Get involved with us. I do have the questionnaire that we're going to be putting out very soon.
Good.
I have the bones of it together, and we're going to massage it a little bit amongst the members of the party. Just a light
Massage. Yeah,
touching, good
yeah,
touch, not bad touch,
yeah,
good
yeah,
touch.
yeah.
And so we're going to be sending that out to everybody that's running for city council and for mayor. And we're going to ask some tough questions. We'll definitely post it on the Denver Green Party page on Facebook so that you can take a look at it. And if you have any ideas about issues that you want us to ask questions about, please feel free. If those issues have to do with the false flag operation of 9/11, we're not asking anybody that shit anymore.
Yeah,
Sorry, we're not. We're done.
yeah,
We're done. But
yeah.
if you've got definite issues about the governance of the city and county of Denver, and anything at statewide, but mainly Denver, because these are the races we're going to be looking at very closely, the mayor's race and the city council race that are coming up. Please feel free to chime in. Starting off, Doctor, shall we talk about
Yes.
someone who's running for mayor? probably.
Oh yeah, the Robin Canoosh,
Yes, yes,
the Robin Canoosh.
the Robin Kinich.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Council person Kinich, it looks like she's going to definitely be throwing her hat in the ring. This isn't. I don't think it's official yet, but definitely making noise about it out there. So if we know about it, then everybody knows about it. So she wrote an op-ed. At last, Denver can require affordable housing and new development. This is important because there's a lot of price gouging that's going on as vis-a-vis the rental market here in Denver. Um, so they passed a bill in 2021 or started working on it, and this was by state reps Susan Lontine, Democrat, Serena Gomez Gutierrez, Democrat, Senators Julie Gonzalez, Democrat, and Robert Rodriguez, Democrat, sponsored a bill to give cities like Denver the power to regulate affordable housing in new rental development, a policy commonly known as exclusionary housing. So I guess Councilperson Kinich worked closely with them to come up with some numbers that new development is going to have to address. And here's the problem. Minimum wage in Denver is $15 and
89
87,
cents.
yeah,
87.
87
Yeah.
cents, right? And that's definitely a step in the right direction, but that equals a gross, if you're working 40 hours a week, 160 hours a month, that's a gross of like $2,600. Um, so yeah, a month. And
Mm-hmm.
I do have a calculator. What's
And
2,600?
like the average apartment, one bedroom apartment's about 1,300, 1,400. If you're lucky.
Right,
And and if you fill out an application for an apartment building, you have to make three times that, right? So,
right.
so uh, that's not 2,600. That's
Yeah,
like I'm not trying to do math right now, but it's whatever 1,300 times three is 3,900. So not even quite hitting the threshold there, right? But it's the bill trying to increase um, access to affordable housing for low income people,
right.
and so like and it's kind of the first thing that kind of jumped out at us was it's not retroactive, but it's kind of moving on forward kind of thing, right?
Right. Well, and the whole idea of um, AMI, isn't that the phrase there? Affordable housing is that affordable housing equals 30% of your take home, right?
Mhm.
AMI, what does that mean, and what is affordable in Denver? Average median income.
Mhm.
So that's a huge problem. 30% of say
Area median income.
area median income, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So if you're making $2,600 a month, that's 10,060. What did my calculator just say? 10,240. That's your gross. Obviously, we all know that they are going to take a bite out of that to the tune of probably you're left with somewhere around 9,000, a little over $9,000 after taxes, probably a little less than that. So 30%. Let's see here. Let's see what that is ladies and gentlemen,
Well,
and
and that
everybody.
was it. The other thing that I thought was a little odd that they're using median instead of
Right,
there's mean, median, and mode.
right.
So that mean should be average. So they're not even using like the average, you know, income. Like it's median is the number that's just kind of right in the middle, of everything. So it just seemed
Well,
a little screwy.
yeah, it does. And right now in Denver, I actually Googled this yesterday. How many? Sorry, y'all. I've endeavored to have all of these things up, but this is one that I got rid of out of my screen. How many open apartments?
Oh yeah, there's like 2,000 at least.
Yeah, what I saw was that there's 20,000 vacancies in Denver
Okay, yeah,
right now. And so let's see. Here's a Denver Post article, and this is from the pandemic. Let's see. What are they? Oh, they're just doing by percentage. Um, so actually, in 2021, 2020, there were about 20,000 open units. There are 4,600 houseless people right now. So one of the questions that we're going to have on our questionnaire for all these people running for office is, are you going to use eminent domain to get some people up off the streets? That would be probably negatory from the
yeah,
capitalist class. But this is really kind of concerning that, this once again, um, people in the establishment running out and patting themselves on the back uh, for not really doing a whole hell of a lot. I mean, obviously they have to appease their donors. You know, by the way, the Green Party, we don't take corporate donations, so
no,
that's one of the things that's why we're so clean.
yeah,
But we don't take corporate donations, and we, of course, like probably everybody that's watching this live stream, feel like that money and politics has gotten us to where we are right now. It's a
yeah,
horrible thing. But they're talking about let's see here, 8 units or 10% of units are going to be built, and they're going to be below 60% of the AMI, right? For a
okay,
family of two, 60% of AMI is below $56,000 a year. Guess what? If you're making minimum wage and your
yeah,
partner is making minimum wage and you're together, that's 20,000, $22,000 a year. 70% of AMI is below 65,000 a year. 80% is below 71, and yeah. So I don't. This is the disconnect with Democrats, is that they always walk right up to the edge of doing something good, and then they fall back on um, their their capitalist tendencies. And so the working class is left out. And guess what happens with the working class? I don't think that we have to make a bigger point about this than just looking at the fact that especially white working class people, when the last thing that they have to rely on that separates them from everyone else is this, then it really creates a lack of solidarity. with other working class groups. Working class people of color is what I'm thinking of specifically. So um, it's really
This is
easy to fix this. It's really easy to fix it. You take care of you actually are a Democratic Party that represents working class people instead of your fucking donors. Anyway, go ahead, Diz. I'm sorry.
This reminds me of, like a meme I saw a couple months ago about, how Democrats just means test everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just this whole kind of all these extra hoops and bells and whistles, that they really just, if you're a working class person trying to get on food stamps or, Medicaid or whatever, that it's just this things that should be, like Medicaid, right? Everyone should have access to health care. And Democrats just want, to, well, let me have you fill out these like stack of forms, and we're going to have you do it every year, kind of thing to make sure, you qualify for it. And if we had common sense rent control, if we had common sense health insurance, you wouldn't have to create all this kind of bureaucracy, I guess, right? That people have to navigate just to get food and shelter and health insurance, right? That's the
Yeah, and this is one of the things, and I know that many of you folks out there work for nonprofits, and God bless you. If there is a God, that God will bless you.
yeah, yeah, insurance.
But the 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 problem is that because of the Democratic Party's lack of willingness to address issues like this, they offload any responsibility of actually doing things for folks that live in marginalized communities to their friends and neighbors that work in the nonprofit industrial complex. And I'm not. Believe me, I'm not. There are definitely great nonprofits out there, and they're definitely. I mean, you only have to look as far as the Red Cross to know
Yeah,
that there is a serious level of what does the Red
yeah.
Cross spend? Like 10% of
It,
every dollar
no,
they get goes to
no,
people.
no. Well, they don't. They're not even required to do that. The percentage cutoff is 2.5%. So
Jesus.
if you're a nonprofit, and I swear, because I had to, I'm on a board of several nonprofits, and I actually had to explain this to someone the other day. 2.5%, of our income actually has to go to some sort of charitable, endeavor,
Right,
kind of thing.
right. Well, so check that article, the self-congratulatory article that Councilperson Kinich put out. Because as an entertainer, I guess that depends on who you ask.
Use that term loosely. He uses that term very
I
loosely.
use that
Yeah.
loosely, but
Uh-huh.
I've met Counselor Kinich. She's very a very nice person.
Yeah.
But we have to. It's okay that we can
She's
have.
kind of like she's Denver's Pete Buttigieg, I guess, right?
Oh God, I am.
Not touching that one. Okay. No, she's a nice lady. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
But
but just doing the least she can do.
yeah, I let's let me just say this. Capitalism is the problem, right? And unfettered capitalism. I mean, capitalism is the
Yeah,
problem, right? Everybody has a
yeah,
price tag on them, and I don't care if it's black capitalism, gay capitalism, Latino capitalism, whatever. It's still capitalism. right? Jared Polis is a great
Yeah.
example of somebody that believes in the capitalist system, and I got to tell you all that I'm
It,
sure that it's been a long time since Governor Polis has had to go to Save a Lot to buy groceries or to the
uh,
Dollar Tree to get
yeah, yeah,
groceries and stuff. So yeah, it's open class warfare. This is just another example of it. And anyway, so check out what we're saying. The numbers don't lie, y'all. I mean, 2 plus 2 equals 4, and if if your city council person or your mayoral candidate or people that support the system cannot make those numbers come together to equal 4, there's a problem. It
yeah,
that numbers don't lie. So all right, should we move on to people that are
yeah,
living in their vehicles right now?
yeah, yeah. So that's a big issue, right? There's kind of this, you go through the city, and you kind of see the tents and the kind of the most visible homeless people, but there are people living in RVs and cars that you might not necessarily pick up on.
Right.
Um, and they're trying to Denver is putting forth, $150,000 in COVID relief funds towards safe parking site. It's kind of weird. Small number, and that it's just coming from COVID relief funds. Also kind of bizarre, but whatever. But just trying to, I guess that's part of the issue. If you have an RV, you have to move it every couple 3 days, and they're just trying to, again, the bare minimum, like $150,000. You're not really gonna solve much with. It's a pretty minuscule amount of money, right?
the I this article is interesting. This is of course in um, the Denver Post. So there may be a paywall there. I don't know. You can definitely see a few articles for free. There are ways around it. Please be creative. Um, and but they interview this one couple that they live in their RV, and in this article they talk about getting a space that they can park their RV, and it's $900 a month. What
Yeah,
the fuck? This sorry, I mean that's what we used to pay in rent for a freaking apartment in this town.
yeah,
So and so there is a program uh, that does help people that are living in their vans or in their cars, and they're at 10 or 12 different locations. It talks about that here around town, but there's only 8 to 10 slots per location, and these locations might have a place to wash your hands and also porta potties there. But I mean, that's like 85 people. They're saying 85 different people are able to utilize that. And so they're putting $150,000 into.
yeah.
Last time I just saw this
And
anecdotally.
they,
Go ahead.
and they
Go ahead.
even admit it. But Britta Fisher, the city's chief housing officer and head of the Department of Housing Stability, views it as another building block in the city's multi-pronged effort to address the homelessness and housing affordability crisis. I don't pretend to think it's going to be huge, Fisher said last month. Really, at the end of the day, we want to get more people into housing, and we think a safe parking site can help reduce harm, introduce services, and get, more people connected to housing. So it's just kind of basically like a lottery system, right? Like if you're one of a handful of people, who can get in connected to this program, good for you, but it's a building block, and it's just kind of, and I'm sure if you're one of these people who gets into this program, there's going to be you're going to get to be a fun photo op for the politicians, or the people running the program. But for the vast majority of people in this situation, you're just kind of SOL, right?
Right. The one of the things I then they this couple in this article talks about being given a ticket, $100 ticket, for parking, and actually, there's this cat in Boulder, who's an attorney, Darren O'Connor. I've known him for a long time. Really solid dude, really down for the struggle, who helped them get that ticket dropped. But the problem is that, um, criminalizing this, and this is a huge problem. Uh, they have a vigilante group that the city has hired, that's going to go around and give houseless people tickets, and they're just waiting on their uniforms to come in. I believe that they're, um, lovely, uniforms, designed by Hugo Boss. Black. They're all black. I believe they have an armband of some kind on, or perhaps they're all brown. I'm not quite sure. Anyway,
We
so,
know where you're going. We know where you're going.
I'll tell you, if you want a good uniform that scares
Yeah.
people, Hugo Boss. Go all the time. Go
Uh,
all out. Right.
Lives up to
Uh,
the name. It's a very intimidating name.
it is an intimidating name.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, so I sorry. I have to make jokes about this, or else you kind of look at it, it's just so ridiculous. But so criminalizing houselessness and doing this kind of stuff, what is it? What are they going to get out of these people when they give them
Yeah.
a ticket? It's a is it a monetary ticket? No, I think that they're going to force people into community service. This sounds a lot like, vagrancy laws, Jim Crow vagrancy laws.
Well, then you just end up. So you like that's just how like the natural progression of things, right? You ticket them, they don't pay the ticket, then the next time you get like a boot, or your vehicle gets towed or repossessed or whatever, and then you go from having a semi structure of a RV or a SUV or a car or truck or whatever you're living in, to having nothing, at all, and then you're on the street, in the tent, kind of thing. So it's just kind of, you know, not giving people a hand up, but you're just kind of kicking them while they're down, kind of thing, right? And that's the
Yeah.
the grossness of it, right?
Yeah. Um, this isn't the way that things should be. And
Mm,
I think that we, as leftists, of course, we always have, you know, I had somebody actually say to me today that you should come to my building and see how horrible it is with unhoused people there. And I'm like, is that, you really think that's going to change my opinion? You really think
yeah,
that I'm gonna that because you want me to see the horrible conditions around your building? I've been all over this city. I haven't seen any. The propaganda is that there are needles and human feces everywhere. Where? I don't see it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't.
Well,
Even people that are camping in these little encampments, I don't see it. It's bullshit.
even if that were
Yeah,
even if that was the case, right? Still, like who would Jesus, you know, like like Joe, what are we supposed to do with them? Kind of thing.
right.
Like we have to have compassion for the most vulnerable and the most marginalized people, in our community. And if you're just going to judge them and make it feel like there's no place for them in our society. You know,
Right.
that's a you problem. You know, that's not a them problem.
Right.
You know, kind of thing.
Well, there we do have an article, and it's actually a video from Nine News about volunteers
Oh
who
yeah,
are out there offering trash and water service for the unhoused
yeah.
people. Why do volunteers have to do that? Why is it that, this is another question for the Hancock administration and city council. We posted a couple of weeks ago. We talked about the fact that a dude down in, I believe, Swansea, Illyria, business owner, uh, provided a roll off for people to put their trash in from a houseless encampment over there, and he reached out to Candy Sidabaka, for help, and basically, we can't help. I mean, what does that even mean? And Candy is supposedly the farthest. I'm sorry, Councilperson Debaka is because I don't know
She's
Candy
supposed to be
very
like
well.
the crazy left wing, you know,
Right,
kind of
right,
anarchist, you know, kind of.
right, right.
And if she's not helping you, man, like there's something going on there.
Yeah, yeah. So people are having to go out and just local people are having to go out and help with it, and it's you know, what are we paying taxes for? I mean, that this is part of the reason that there is sales tax and that kind of thing, is so
Yeah.
that we fund a city that is taking care of issues like this.
Mhm.
It's not just about giving corporations and developers tax cuts, and we will have to do in a couple upcoming episodes, do a little deep dive on tax incremental funding, or TIF. That's where the city or the state goes in and declares an area blighted, and then developers are able to go there and develop without paying any taxes for infrastructure, vis-a-vis the what used to be known as the Stapleton neighborhood, which is now Central Park. Look at the Lowry neighborhood. Look at the development that is at that used to be Gates Rubber, which is at the corner of Broadway and Alameda, or Broadway and Mississippi. Those are all TIF sites. So they declared those spaces blighted, and then the developers get to come in and basically free money from our
Yeah.
tax base. As a matter of fact,
And
TIF is
yeah,
such a bad thing that tax incremental financing is such a bad thing that the people that live in the former Stapleton, it's Central Park, right? The Central Park neighborhood, do their property taxes do not go to pay for their schools.
yeah.
Property taxes are used to pay for schools and stuff like that. They're not paying for their schools. We are
All
paying
the
for their
yeah,
schools. Yeah.
everyone else subsidizes them, right? That's
Right,
the thing,
exactly,
right? You know,
exactly.
yeah.
And then they want a basically a whites only campus at
Mm.
Northfield. Anyway, I
So
digress. But
it's like it's the whole thing, right? Taxes is supposed to be just kind of this. The reason we have them is it's social contract, right? You know that
right,
we throw money into the coffers and schools and education and food stamps and all these social programs are supposed to be funded from it, but we just end up getting, kind of subsidizing property development and real estate people, right?
right,
And and then people start looking around and like, well, I'm paying all these taxes, I'm not getting anything, and then people start to kind of then like people start to really listen to the libertarians kind of stuff, and like it just, and then it just kind of devolves, into that kind of rabbit hole of, like taxation and stuff, and it's not good for anything, kind of thing, and it's just kind of, like pulling the string off out of a sweater that, eventually, the whole thing just unravels, eventually, right? Um,
Right.
so
It's yeah, folks, I'm sure that you're thinking that we're doing a lot of that we do a lot of pontificating here. Once again, speaking of pontificating, go to denvergreenparty.org and get
yeah.
involved. Feel free to give us a donation, whatever. Any a dollar or two here and there helps. We appreciate it. Uh, lots of amazing things that are going to be happening in the upcoming weeks and months. I know that I keep saying that, but it's true. And this live stream is just kind of our jumping off point for the organizing that we're starting to do on the ground. Um, and we'll let you know about what's coming up, what's happening. This is a way for us to stay in touch with you, and to kind of let you know that there are people watching, and that's us. Um, let's talk about
So
good. Go
yeah,
ahead.
but yeah, so we were kind of talking about, you got good news. I already thought we had bad news this week,
No, we did.
but yeah, um, but okay, yeah. So there was kind of good news, right? Denver had its first Starbucks unionized, right? That was
Right.
really exciting, and and we've been talking about how, like, depressed wages and not enough benefits, and there's kind of been this kind of collective effort, I guess, with these Starbucks kind of throughout the country, right? That have kind of had their employees kind of organize and vote. And there's a Starbucks at Colfax in Milwaukee. Kind of looks like a barn. I think there was a restaurant there once upon a time, and it was a like a
Can't think of what it was, but yeah.
yeah, but it had a barn motif, I guess, kind of thing. And they were the first ones in the city, maybe the state, to organize. And for whatever reason, people hate unions, I guess. And there was an article about some kind of retaliation, that they've kind of been, experiencing, kind of thing. And and if you can't unionize in Denver, of all the, the blueberry, in the state of Colorado, right, that's without getting, some sort of blowback from it. Like, what's it even mean to be a Democrat, or part of that, movement anymore? But just really
The,
bizarre, kind of thing, that there would be that type of resistance to it.
here's the thing, and rank and file Democrats, we are not addressing our ire at you in any way, shape, or form. I can understand how the fear of fascism, as represented by people with orange hair in this country. Not all orange haired people, just certain orange haired people, is scary. The that we Des and I were talking the other night about how the right wing is organizing. I wrote we 2 weeks ago with our comrade Sierra Garcia. We talked about the assault on Planned Parenthood. Hell, a person in Wyoming broke into the Casper Planned Parenthood and set it on fire just a couple of days ago. So the right wing, the Roe v. Wade is organizing. The anti-choice people are organizing, and then also with the Pride month,
Yeah.
you've heard a lot about right wingers yelling about grooming and things like that, and it's preposterous, especially when the Southern Baptist Convention, the report just came out about there's over 700 clergy involved with sexual abuse in the Southern Baptist Church. Um,
Yeah.
I've got some
Yeah.
relatives I'm going to be asking about that when I see them next.
And that has
But
been coming up in my Facebook feed, like, were you sexually abused in the Southern Baptist Church or whatever? Like, and there's some sort of like class action thing. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's yeah. So circling back though to the union thing, this is what your elected Democrats have been doing for a long time, which is the day of the FDR Democrat is over. Those people are gone. Tip O'Neill,
Mhm.
other folks. The I want to say
No,
Bill Clinton ushered in a whole new era
yeah.
of corporate Democrats, and so they are anti-union. The Democrats that are elected at the state level here in Colorado, many of them are anti-teachers union. They support privatization of the schools. They have a specific group called Democrats for Education Reform, and many, many, many people, including, and I don't know if Senator Gonzalez, Julie Gonzalez, who we talked about, who wrote the bill, the that for affordable housing. I don't know if they're part of Democrats for Education Reform, but they are absolutely 100% pro charter schools, um,
Yeah.
and so this anti-union threat, and the fact that Colorado is a right to work state, which means they can fire you for whatever they want to fire you, at any
Yeah.
time, and the
Uh-huh.
fact that the Democrats control the House and the Senate and the governor's office, and they're not doing anything to get rid of that. It's ridiculous. Governor Polis has fought against allowing state employees to unionize. So they. It's not y'all. It's not
Mhm.
FDR's
Mhm.
party
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
and the and so this
With
anti-union,
Democrats like this, with Democrats like these, you need Republicans, right?
there's actually a lot of talk on the left about how um, elected Democrats have facilitated the rise of this fascist streak that's going on, and it is fascism. It is. I mean, the fact that, just look at the January 6th uprising.
Yeah.
That was a coup attempt, right? And so and it's not hyperbolous to say that the right wing has gone way overboard, and way. I mean, it's from the Proud Boys to the Klan to the
Adam
GOP. It's
Lofton. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Adam
Uh-huh.
Waffen idiots. So that's the biggest problem that I see in the Democratic Party. By the way, that Starbucks at Colfax in Milwaukee, go there and buy coffee from them and say, I'd like a union double
Yeah.
espresso.
Yeah.
Because they'll appreciate it. They'll appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going. I
It's like
actually we
the second closest Starbucks to where I live. I actually have to drive by another Starbucks to get to that one.
to get to
But
that
but
one.
now but now I do just because that's where I wanna spend my money.
If I am really in the mood for an excellent cup of burnt espresso, that's where I'm going for sure. No,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm joking about it, but we all go to Starbucks, right? So
Mhm.
go to the one that's unionized right there. They do appreciate it. I've gone there and I'm like, hey, give me the union, and they're always just
Yeah,
tickled when you say that to them. So it's a small bit of solidarity that you can do. I've reached out to those folks to ask how we can support them, and I haven't heard back. But as soon as I do, we'll post it on the Denver Green Party page. You can once again go to denvergreenparty.org to get involved, and you'll see that kind of stuff that we're doing behind the scenes. Get involved with us anyway. So that's kind of the good news story. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, the big thing though now, Starbucks is starting to retaliate against those stores that are unionizing, and they're shutting them down and that kind of thing. So it's just more in that uh, more of that anti-unionization stuff. I had somebody in a union tell me once, um, we either hang together or we hang apart or we hang separately. And yeah, I mean, I believe that there are some, but there are some really shitty unions, and it really, they're so co-opted by the Democratic Party that you have to be put on your put on your critical thinking cap. But unions are always a good thing. Unions are always a good thing.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't.
Even you know,
No, go ahead, man.
that's the good news. That's the good news.
That is the good news. That is
Um,
the good news.
yeah.
And the good news is,
Yeah.
that it's Pride Month. The good news is that uh, we have each other. We have, I always talk about this quote from from Che Guevara, which is the revolutionary's heart is driven by love, right? And so I think that's, we do have a lot of issues, and but we that dealing with our system, as rotten as it is, there's there's a lot to be down about, but there's a lot of good things happening. Just being able to get together with you comrades out there every couple of weeks and talking through the local issues is very important. Getting a chance to hang out with the good doctor is always a great thing. And we value your feedback. So once again, denvergreenparty.org. Jump on the bandwagon. Join the team for the big win is what we're trying to say here. Get on
Yeah.
board. Get on board, because
Yeah.
inside of every Democrat is a good socialist trying to fight their way out. That's not true. That's not
Yeah.
true.
No,
But that's not true. But
but
come stick your water into the deep end of the pool. It's fine. So, is there anything else you want to say, man?
no, I think we hit on. Glad we're ending on a quasi positive note. Do feel bad for
Quasi.
those Star work. I do feel bad for the Starbucks workers who are getting like their jobs threatened or whatever for unionizing. But we I guess you know, there's always just that risk of being a pioneer that it's sticking your neck out that you're going to get burned or that there's going to be some sort of retaliation
Right.
directed at you. But eventually, if we normalize this stuff enough, it really, and the reason why they do that is because they don't want this other people to do it. So, it's the way that they spook people.
Right.
It's a form of intimidation. So, we have to kind of band together and say, this is, what we support and this is what our value system is. And so good for them for, you know, doing, you know, taking that leap and the risk in that. And, um, everyone deserves a job. Everyone deserves a living wage. So, they're just doing the best what's good for them. And I'm tired of paying for, like Amazon workers' food stamps and their health insurance. Well, Jeff Bezos, makes billions of dollars every year. So, if people can do this and organize, good for them. So,
Yeah, that I wish I could. Oh, actually, I can do that right now. Allow me to
Oh,
add
you get
one
the sound
last
effects.
thing.
You got sound effects. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to put a little song in here for y'all to listen to later. Let me grab it up off of YouTube. But whenever somebody mentions Jeff Bezos, I always
Uh-huh.
think about this song by Gil Scott Heron, the great Gil Scott Heron. And some of y'all might not know who he was, but he actually is kind of the pioneer of rap. He was a jazz musician and singer and poet. Um, and he has a song from, well, one of his best songs is "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," but my one of my other favorites of his is called "Whitey on the Moon." So, so I'm going to put this in there for Danielle to put in the live stream, and you can listen to that, and you'll be like, Jesus, this, when is this going to change? When is all this shit going to change? Anyway, here it comes, y'all. It's actually a good way to end the night with a little Gil
Yeah.
Scott Heron. So, hey, y'all, come back in 2 weeks. We were going to talk a little bit about the anti-houseless propaganda this week that's
Uh-huh.
going on in all of the local papers, and so we're going to pull a little bit more, get in a little more detail on that. And also the anti-pride stuff that's going on out there, and
Yeah.
the propaganda around that, so that you can know how to spot it, and also my advice to you is to not go to the comments if it's a story that has anything to
I
do
know. I
with
know.
BIPOC
Or,
people.
yeah.
Do not go to the comments,
Or,
and
yeah.
yeah, don't
Or,
don't do it.
or Kyle
Just
Rittenhouse. I learned that one too.
oh my god, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. I
Um,
got pulled into that the other day. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
These people are unhinged. It's pretty obvious
Yeah.
that they're unhinged. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
we were going to talk about the vacancy thing in DPS
Oh, yeah.
tonight, but they're going to vote on tomorrow. That's in the far north, the northwest. It's a vacancy hearing to uh, to replace this dude who was elected on the school board. Um,
The puppet guy?
who the puppet master. I can't even think of what his
Yeah.
fucking name was, but it
Yeah. Yeah.
really creepy
Yeah.
shit, man. Anyway,
Yeah.
they're gonna put somebody in there. It's really become quite ugly, and we're I'm that's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna say about it. But
Yeah.
hopefully, then when we come back in 2 weeks, we'll comment on who the school board decided to appoint into that position. So hopefully it's somebody that's anti-charter school. I don't think so. I think that they're going to
Probably not.
probably, yeah, because
Don't
they
hold your
deserve a
breath on that one,
yeah,
Jason.
they deserve a
Yeah.
place at the table, is what I heard today on Brother
Yeah.
Jeff's show. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And Brother Jeff, if y'all don't know who he is, you can find him on Facebook, but he is definitely anti charter school. He's pro 100% neighborhood school, and he does not equivocate on that. But definitely, a lot of people he has on his show are pro charter school. So it's a very strange world we live in. But hey, good night. Love you.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks for coming by. And
Peace
as
and
always,
love. See you in a
peace and
couple
love.
weeks.
See you in a couple of weeks. And Danielle, thank you very much once again for guiding us through.